All right, we are going to learn how to fix the photo in Adobe Lightroom. In this case, we're going to be taking out the bridle and reins of this horse, so it's just the horse. And on Google Classroom, you'll be able to find the link to Adobe Lightroom. You can just type in Adobe Lightroom too, and it'll take you to the web-based app. Before you actually have your photo ready to edit, you're going to go to Add Photos and then select them. You're going to select them from your downloads. Hopefully you've already downloaded them, and then add them directly in here. To edit, you're going to click on the photo, and we're going to go to the healing option here. Now there's remove, there's the heal or spot healing brush, and then there's the clone stamp. We'll kind of talk about each of those. First, the remove typically works best if you have something with a background that's very similar to what you're removing. So I'm going to just quick show you what I'm talking about. So on the reins here, I'm going to be removing those, and it's going to kind of process it, think about it, and then it's going to remove, or you can use generative AI for that as well. To go back here though, if I go to my spot healing brush, you can kind of get a sense of how that works. So I'm going to show you that. You can see it kind of duplicates another part of the scene, and especially with foliage or leaves and things in the background, that works really, really well. Hair, any of those things. So generally, I actually tend to do most of this type of work with the spot healing brushes. This brush is actually in Photoshop as well. I'll just quick show you where to find it. So you can do the same thing in Photoshop. It's just going to be over here in your tools. So spot healing brush here, healing brush, all of those. And then there's also the clone stamp here too. So I just wanted you to know that that is in there. If I go in here, I'm going to go ahead and just click on that and see what happens. Not too bad. Again, I might go into my remove here too, kind of play around with the reins here. So it's kind of trial and error, what works and what doesn't. That looks pretty good. Let's see how this looks on the horse itself. And then sometimes it helps if I scroll down and I turn off that overlay, I can kind of get a better sense of what I need to do still. Let's try this little piece here. This is the tricky spot. I've already done this, so I want to try and make sure I'm not like removing any part of the horse. That's not too bad. And then I'm going to zoom in so we can see a little better here, right up to the horse's mouth. We'll see how that looks. Didn't do it super well, so I'm going to go back and let's try the spot healing brush instead. See if that makes a difference. And again, we're going to do show overlay, and so it shows you which part it's copying. So obviously that's not going to work because it's duplicating the wrong part. Let's maybe go somewhere like over here. And I still don't like that, so we're going to go back again. And let's try that remove again. Slightly different. That's better. Again, I'll turn that overlay off. I actually like that much better. You can go ahead and do this part of the horse's mouth. Sometimes doing smaller sections is actually better. This is always the tricky part too. That's not too bad either. Zoom back out here. Let's do this part of the bridle, which shouldn't be too difficult. Again, I'm just using the remove. There's a little bit left here. So you can see I'm not doing it all in one go. I'm not really using AI necessarily to like generate everything, because I just want to take out all those big pieces. I just don't want it to be obvious that this horse was wearing a bridle before. Let's go back because it's a little too smudgy, I think. A tiny bit there. Now you can also change the size of that. So sometimes changing the size will also affect the final look. Honestly, this is not too bad. This looks a little funky to me, so I maybe will just kind of play around with that. That's better. And then from here, once you have your photo fixed, you're going to click on this share, send, and upload or download button. You can just do JPEG small. You'll save that, and then you will send it, to Google Classroom. Really quick before I get into, or before I actually give you the assignment, clone stamp. I didn't really do that for this one, but clone stamp can be really useful too. I'm going to show you kind of how that works. So let's go ahead and change the size here. If I, do something like this and I want to duplicate a part, we'll just do show overlay, which is very similar to the spot healing brush. It will just go ahead and duplicate it. I typically do not use clone stamp. hardly at all for something like this because I want something that's a lot more subtle. This is too obvious. If I turn off that overlay, it's like, ugh, horrible. We do not want that. So I'll just go back and not. So like I said, I usually will use the remove or spot healing healing brush. It's really good for any kind of like marks, or sometimes I have people who request me to remove scars or like zits and things when they get a picture taken. So I tend to use that for that. If there's any distractions in a photograph, I'll tend to use the remove. So you can kind of balance it out based on what works best. So feel free to just kind of try it out and see what works best. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, enjoy fixing your photos.